Good afternoon. Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's been quite a while since we've had the pleasure of gathering together to celebrate a new associate judge. Today, we are fortunate to be here with Judge Ebony Scott at her name unveiling. We appreciate her energy, her dedication, and her collegiality. It really adds to our bench, so we're very lucky to have her with us as a part of our family. We are privileged to have her as a colleague and a judicial officer on the Superior Court. She's been working hard ever since she was confirmed and sworn in. Unfortunately, due to COVID and all the restrictions, not all of Judge Scott's colleagues could be here in person, but some of her colleagues are here, and we're happy that they were able to be present. But many of her colleagues, because of our restrictions, are participating virtually, but they wish her well, and they're very excited for her to be recognized and honored for becoming a member of our court. I would like to welcome our honored guest here today. Today we have two very special people, Judge Scott's family members, her mother, Darnetta Adamson. Ms. Adamson, welcome to the Superior Court. And we have her husband, her wonderful husband, John Scott. Welcome again to the Superior Court, Mr. Scott. We also want to remember Judge Scott's father, DeWitt Oliver, and her grandmother, Elizabeth Morse, who are no longer with us. We know that the memories of her father and grandmother will serve as an inspiration to Judge Scott. And we honor them as we honor Judge Scott today. Of course, I'd also like to recognize the Chief Judge of the D.C. Court of Appeals, Anna Blackburn Rigsby, who Judge Scott happened to clerk for. Welcome also to the judges in attendance, Judge Epstein, Edelman, DeMayo, and Crodhammer. I see Judge Rigsby is here with the family. He's in the family section. And of course, we have Judge Long, and I have to tell you, my glasses aren't great. We have another colleague, and Judge DeWitt. Welcome to this celebration. I'm sorry. And I'd also like to welcome any other judges who are here from other courts. Judge Ebony Scott was nominated as an associate judge of the Superior Court by President Joseph Biden in September 2021 and confirmed by the Senate in February 2022. Previously, Judge Scott was appointed a magistrate judge by Chief Judge Robert E. Morin in January 2020. Judge Scott was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, and she graduated from University of Rochester with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in political science, and she earned her law degree from the American University Washington College of Law in 2006. Following her graduation from law school, Judge Scott served as a judicial law clerk, as mentioned, to the Honorable Chief Judge Anna Blackburn Rigsby of the D.C. Court of Appeals. And after that, she joined a law firm and litigated personal injury cases on behalf of plaintiffs in D.C. and Maryland. Then she joined the Office of Attorney General for the District of Columbia in 2012 as an Assistant Attorney General, where she prosecuted a variety of cases involving drug, firearm, and prostitution-related nuisance offenses. She later served as the acting chief of that section, where she was a prosecutor. In 2016, Judge Scott joined the District of Columbia Office of Human Rights as general counsel. In her role, she oversaw the day-to-day operations of the legal division and managed the resolution of discrimination complaints arising under the D.C. Human Rights Act and other federal and district laws. In 2018, Judge Scott joined the Mayor's Office of Legal Counsel as Deputy Director, and in that role, she assisted the Director in supervising all of the attorneys in the Mayor's office who reported directly to the Mayor and provided legal advice to the mayor and the deputy mayors for this city. Judge Scott has always been committed to public service. She previously served as an Abramson Scholarship Foundation mentor. She played an active role on its mentoring committee, and she continues to serve the foundation in various capacities now. She's a former member of the Trial Lawyers Association of the Metropolitan Washington, D.C. area, and she previously served as a governor on the Board of Governors of the D.C. Bar and as chair of the Education Committee. She has also been an active member of the American Association for Justice and served 2 years as one of the regional coordinators for the Washington, D.C. region and for the tournament of the National Student Trial Advocacy Competition. Judge Scott is an adjunct professor and lecturer at the American University Washington College of Law. I will now invite Chief Judge Blackburn-Rigsby to come and share her remarks about Ebony Scott. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Friday. Thank you, Chief Judge Josie Herring. It's good to always be back at Superior Court, my home, away from home, as I like to say, and to see many of my colleagues and friends here. Good afternoon, Ms. Dempson, and I know Mr. Roussan and Dr. Bailey were not able to be here today, but I'd like to give them greetings. To John Scott, or Scott, as we know him and as Ebony affectionately calls him. To Ebony's mother and aunt, we see where Ebony gets her beauty and style and her grit and determination from. It's good to see you both and all of the family here again. To Judge Rigsby, I have to always say hello or things don't go well. And to my newest colleague on the Court of Appeals, Judge J.P. Howard, who worked with Ebony at the D.C. Commission on Human Rights. It's good to see you. And I would also just give a shout out to Ms. Siobhan Smith. Ebony and Siobhan were co-clerks, my very first clerks when I moved from the Superior Court to the Court of Appeals. So, Ebony, Judge Scott, I am so very proud of you and so excited and honored that you asked me to say a few remarks on your behalf today to celebrate this wonderful, wonderful opportunity that you have to serve and continue serving the people who live and work and do business here in the District of Columbia and who come before our courts. You've heard from Chief Judge Josie Herring some of Judge Scott's many professional achievements. And so I don't want to dwell on those anymore, but I want to just talk a little more about the person who I think is so very special and why I think she continues to serve well and to be a wonderful colleague and judge on the Superior Court. I remember when Ebony, Judge Scott, interviewed. Siobhan was my current clerk on Superior Court, and we moved together to the Court of Appeals all the way upstairs, three more floors. And when Ebony interviewed, I guess what struck me immediately is just the level of preparation. And if you know Ebony, she doesn't do anything without consummate, we might call it a little OCD-like preparation. But I remember she had a file for everything, a binder for everything, a tab for everything, a system for everything. And I just appreciated her work ethic is tremendous. Her organization is consummate. She is brilliant. She is a fantastic writer, which was a huge help in anything legal, but especially as a new judge on the Court of Appeals. But the things I like about Ebony also are that she is friendly, she's open, she's generous with her time, helping colleagues, friends, and family. And I think she cares deeply about the people that we serve in our courts here in D.C. I have lots of funny stories. I won't tell all of them, but I am going to tease her a little bit about the OCD stuff because she was way ahead of her time before the pandemic hit. And we didn't really understand it because she would like clean her desk 3 or 4 times a day. She had hand sanitizer, hand wipes, Mr. Clean, everything. And I didn't know whether to be offended or is it something we did? But that was part of her meticulous nature. And I think we learned a lot now as we all have endured and survived this pandemic. To Scott and Ebony, I had the privilege of performing their wedding ceremony, where Scott, a man of many talents, serenaded Ebony better than any music video that I could ever have seen. And it's been wonderful to watch their love and their life together unfold. And so I don't want to take too much time today, Ebony, except to say I care very deeply about you as a person. I'm very, very proud of you as a colleague, a judge, and just a caring, wonderful person to contribute to this court and to our community. And I know you'll continue to serve. And, you know, one of the special things about being a judge for me has always been the special bond that we have with our clerks and our clerk family. And it is just a wonderful, special part of my life, of our lives. I remember our son Jules was very young at that time, but he would always come and visit chambers. So he somehow, even at 3, 4, and 5 years old, thought he was a law clerk and thought they were his brothers and sisters and friends. And so he also shares a bond with our law clerk family. So to Ebony's family, welcome again, back and still a part of our DC Courts family, of our Chambers family. I know you'll continue to serve well, and thank you, Ebony. We're very proud of you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming here to join us for this honorable moment to recognize Judge Scott once again, now as an associate judge. So proud of her. I have the distinct pleasure of reading the commission in the absence of a White House representative. We normally have a White House representative who isn't here today, so I'm going to read your commission, Judge Scott. I'm sure they're upset about all this noise. And the commission reads, Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America, to all who shall see these present, greeting. Know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the integrity and ability of Ebony M. Scott of the District of Columbia, I have nominated and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate do appoint her an Associate Judge of the Superior Court of the District of Columbia for the term of 15 years, and do authorize and empower her to execute and fulfill the duties of that office according to law, and to have and to hold the said office with all powers, privileges, and emoluments thereunto of right appertaining. Unto her the said Ebony M. Scott, subject to the conditions prescribed by law, and testimony whereof, I have caused these letters to be made patent and the seal of the United States to be hereunto affixed. Done at the city of Washington, this 15th day of February, in the year of our Lord, 2022, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 246th. Signed by President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Dimson, very much for stepping in. At this time, I'm going to invite Ebony Scott, Judge Scott, forward, and her mother, Miss Adamson, please come forward. And is there a Bible? Okay. Raise your right hand. Okay. I'm going to ask you to say "I" and then your name.
Okay.
Okay. I, and say "I" in your name,
I, Ebony Scott,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will administer justice
that I will administer justice
without respect to persons
without respect to persons
and do equal right
and do equal right
to the poor and to the rich,
to the poor and to the rich,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as an associate judge of the Superior Court
as an associate judge of the Superior Court
of the District of Columbia,
of the District of Columbia,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
agreeably to the Constitution
agreeably to the Constitution
and the laws of the United States,
and the laws of the United States,
and that I will support and defend
and that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
without mental reservation
without mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
of
an associate judge of the Superior Court
of the Superior Court
of the District of Columbia.
of the District of Columbia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Let's give her a clap. So I feel like we've done this a couple of times.
Yes, we have.
As mentioned, it's an exciting time for us, and I'm so happy you, like some of your colleagues, will be celebrating this momentous, accomplishment.
Thank you.
Because it's been a long time coming because of the pandemic.
Yes.
At this time, I am going to ask Mr. Scott if you can come up. And do we have the robe? And bring the robe with you?
The robe, babe.
Okay.
And do we just put it on?
I'm going to ask him to
Okay.
place the robe to put it on you. And if you can, and then he will zip it up. And I know you're meticulous, but you can't help him.
You know I want to.
Wow, he's meticulous. Okay.
We're a match made in heaven, right?
There you go. A serenade at the wedding. I can't imagine, right? That's wonderful. Let's clap again. So at this time, I'm going to ask the office of the clerk of the court to come forward. Okay. And we're going to step aside. I'm going to join. Why don't you step over to this side so he can unveil.
Baby, come over here.
This is the big moment.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. This is being recorded, and everything I say has to be picked up. We know that this event has been small or smaller compared to the big investitures we're used to, but just like with everything else we've done in the court, we've been inventive, and we're so happy to celebrate Judge Scott. Thanks to all of you. Have a fabulous weekend. The weather is wonderful. enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.